In the 1930s, Walt Disney envisions Snow White as the first ever full-length animated feature film, a groundbreaking idea that many in the industry dismissed as foolish. Critics dubbed it Disney's folly, convinced that audiences wouldn't sit through a lengthy cartoon. Even Disney's own team doubted whether the project would succeed. Walt Disney, however, was driven by his vision to tell a story that would captivate audiences and showcase the artistic potential of animation. Despite the skepticism, he poured everything into the project, even mortgaging his home to fund it. When the movie premiered in 1937, it received a standing ovation and went on to become a massive commercial and critical success, forever changing the world of filmmaking. Disney's determination mirrors Stephen's boldness in Act 7. In Act 7, Stephen stands before the Jewish council and gives a powerful testimony to God's faithfulness through Israel's history. Stephen walks them through the story of Moses, using it to illustrate God's patience with his people and to highlight the tragic pattern of Israel rejecting God's messengers. So let's start with verse 22. And Moses was instructed in all wisdom and of the Egyptians, and he was mighty in his words and deeds. As we read on, we see that God's plan for him didn't follow the path Moses envisioned. At 40, Moses took action, defending an Israelite by killing an Egyptian oppressor, assuming his people would see him as their deliverer. And yet, they rejected him, asking, "Who made you a ruler and a judge?" This rejection marked the beginning of a long season of preparation. God often refines his servants through unexpected challenges. For Moses, this meant 40 years in the wilderness, where God reshaped his character for the monumental task of leading Israel. Likewise, we may find ourselves in seasons of waiting or facing rejection, unsure of God's plan. Yet, as with Moses, those moments are often God's training ground, shaping us for greater purposes. Stephen draws a parallel between Israel's rejection of Moses and their rejection of Jesus. As Moses was sent as a ruler and redeemer, so Jesus came as the ultimate Savior. And yet, both were dismissed by those they came to rescue. Stephen's confrontation of the council reveals a recurring pattern of resistance to God's chosen leaders, exposing the pride and the self-reliance of those who refuse to acknowledge God's work. This reminder is sobering for us in outreach. Not everyone will embrace the message of Jesus, and resistance often comes from those who feel secure in their beliefs. Yet, God's purposes are not thwarted by rejection. Like Moses, we are called to remain faithful, trusting that God is working in ways we cannot see. Stephen's story reaches its climax as he gazes into heaven. He declares, "Behold, I see the heavens opened, and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." This vision of Jesus standing, a posture suggesting a readiness to receive Stephen and bear witness to his faith, filled him with the courage even as the council's rage turned deadly. In his final moments, Stephen prayed for his persecutors, echoing Jesus' words of forgiveness. "Lord, do not hold this sin against them." Stephen's ultimate sacrifice challenges us to live boldly for Jesus, embodying both his truth and his forgiveness. Outreach isn't just about proclaiming the gospel. It's about reflecting Christ's love even in the face of rejection and hostility. His life reminds us that faithful witness often requires sacrifice, but it also plants seeds that God can grow in His timing. Today, let's stand firm, focused on Jesus and filled with grace. Like Stephen, may we be willing to be faithful witnesses, trusting that God can use even our hardest moments to reveal His glory and draw others into His story.